Developing this morning, police are investigating rape allegations after viral photos hit the internet. We'll explain in a live report.
West Virginia. We're on the campus here because it's homecoming. The Texas Tech Red Raiders are undefeated. Can West Virginia provide the upset? We'll talk about that as 13 News This Morning starts right now.
Good morning. I'm Courtney Kendabi. Jack has the day off. This is 13 News This Morning. It's a case that's gaining national attention right now. Athens police are investigating an alleged sexual assault at Ohio University. 13 News reporter Lisa Robbins has been following this story. She joins us now with the latest developments.
Courtney, social media has played a big part in many high-profile rape cases throughout the country. Now, viral photos taken near the OU campus in Athens have sparked rape allegations after the woman in the photo came forward to claim she had been sexually assaulted. This is one of those pictures that spread across the internet. The female victim filed a police report with the Athens Police Department on Sunday evening, saying she was the victim of sexual assault. A number of photos of the incident were first posted onto Instagram. We talked to students who say they were surprised how quickly news spread. Police say they are still investigating the allegations. They also say the woman who made the report and the man seen in those postings are cooperating. Reporting live in the studio, Lisa Robbins, 13 News, working for you.
And the time is now 6:01 here on 13 News This Morning. Meteorologist Brian Hughes is getting a head start on the fun this weekend in Morgantown for the WVU Texas Tech game. And I have on my WVU
yes, I
blue
sure
and
am
gold.
getting a head start. It's going to be a great game. You look great. You look great, Courtney. You look great in that blue and gold. But I've got my Texas Tech colors on. So this is where it's interesting. This is what happened. I'll tell you the backstory behind this. I've always wanted to go to a West Virginia Texas Tech game. I couldn't be there last year when Texas Tech upset, West Virginia. And then our CEO, Bray Carey, he said, I think it'd be neat if you were in Morgantown for your Friday morning broadcast. We all laughed. Yes, photojournalist Gary Mills, you did, Courtney. We all laughed, and he goes, no, I'm serious. And we said, okay, well, if we're going to plan this, let's make it big. It is big. I've got some cheerleaders that have just shown up, and coming up the bottom of the hour, we're going to have a miniature pep rally right here. I mean, we've got all the space in the world here. We're right at the War Memorial, and we've got Woodburn Hall right behind us. So we're going to have a blast coming up here in just a bit. I used to be the mascot of Texas Tech, and we'll have the Mountaineer here for a West Virginia University pep rally. It's homecoming. Temperatures right now, it is chilly. We've got 45. My gosh, we're freezing to death out here in Morgantown. 45 in Huntington, 49 Charleston, 45 in Point Pleasant and Gallipolis, and Parkersburg 43. Our forecast for today, 65. Lots of sunshine. Okay, coming up, we'll see just how much fun we can have. The girls are going to do some high kicks and so much more. It's going to be a great time when we come back here in a bit. Courtney?
Thank you, Brian. And we are following breaking news right now in the 13 Newsroom. You're looking right now at video from Upper Arlington, Ohio, just north of Columbus, where we're learning an Upper Arlington police officer was the only one to survive when two cars crashed. WBNS 10 TV there says 6 people were killed, including 1 adult male and 5 women, including at least 1 2-year-old child. The officer was taken to the hospital with head injuries. Police say the victims in the other vehicle were not wearing seatbelts and no child seat was found in the car. You can stay with 13 News and WOWK-TV.com for the latest on this developing story. Also this morning, hundreds of thousands of federal workers who were furloughed during the government shutdown have a big payday now coming up. Employees who stayed home or worked without being paid will receive back pay in their next paychecks. For most, those checks will come October 29th. Of course, those workers haven't been paid since the government shutdown, since October the 1st. Most of the recreation facilities operated by the Huntington District of the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers are open right now. Most parks and boat ramps have reopened. Some sites in the region have closed, though, for reasons not related to the government shutdown.
You really need to check with the individual lakes and projects to make sure they're actually open. Some of them were very close to the end of their season already, so some of those won't reopen. But a lot of them are back open again. You know, our employees are back to work, and we're glad to be back in service.
The Summersville boat launches, however, remain closed this morning, and that's because of the scheduled lake drawdown. It's been underway, making that site unusable right now. Lawmakers are speaking out now that the shutdown is over. Representative Shelley Moore Capito stopped by our newsroom to speak about the deal in Washington. Capito says the shutdown was a big deal, but she says now it's time to move forward in Washington.
I don't think it's a blip in history, because I think anytime you shut down for 17 days, you're signaling a lot of dysfunction. And I think, you know, hopefully those who were holding the ground so hard have learned that you've got to work together.
Under the deal reached Wednesday night, federal workers are expected to get that back pay again in their next paycheck. That will be next week for them. Florida police are looking right now for 2 convicted murderers who were released from prison because of forged court documents. Joseph Jenkins and Charles Walker simply walked out of the Franklin County Prison 11 days apart. Each had obtained the false documents featuring official-looking signatures. Both men were sentenced to life for murder and remain on the loose right now. Authorities are now checking other records to see if any more prisoners have escaped. President Obama has made his pick to be the next head of the Department of Homeland Security. The president will announce Jay Johnson's nomination at the White House today. Johnson was the Pentagon's top lawyer, where he oversaw the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. He was also an advocate for the expanded use of drone strikes in the war on terror. A family continues their week-long search this morning for a Putnam County man. Family and friends have been searching for Chris Sexton for several days now. Sexton's mother said her son went missing after a party Monday night in Scott Depot. She tells us a fight broke out and Sexton hasn't been heard from since. But family members say they know people who attended that party have to know useful information that could help them find Sexton.
One of y'all knows something and you need to tell somebody, for real. I mean, put yourself in our situation. If we found him and he was all right, I'd drop everything, you know. But if we find him and something's wrong with him, it ain't gonna be easy to just let go.
If you have any information on the whereabouts of Chris Sexton this morning, you are asked to call 911 or the Putnam County Sheriff's Office. And a missing persons case in Knott County, Kentucky turns now into a homicide investigation. Christina Barnett's body was found by a search party near Hinman September 25th, 6 days after she was last seen. Once the preliminary autopsy report and identification of the victim were confirmed, the death investigation turned into a homicide investigation. A Cabell County jury will begin deliberation this morning in a murder trial. Edward, he's known as Jesse Dreyfus, is accused of killing a handicapped man, Otis Clay, in April with a baseball bat. Dreyfus was originally charged with malicious wounding, but those charges were changed when Clay died from his injuries. The prosecution and defense both rested their cases Thursday. A Kanawha County town is taking their community back one block at a time. City of Dunbar, like so many other cities across the nation, is dealing with an increasing drug problem, which can lead to other criminal activities. Dunbar has started now a citywide neighborhood watch program. The Dunbar Chief of Police wants the community to be the eyes and ears in their neighborhoods. The chief says, though, you should never approach a suspect and you should always call 911 if you suspect something is wrong.
City of Dunbar at approximately 8,000 people. If you take that and everyone gets involved in the neighborhood watch program, then we've got 8,000 additional sets of eyes out there looking to see what goes on to help protect the neighborhood, and look out for each other, because basically we are our brother's keepers.
Lieutenant Chad Napier of the Metro Drug Enforcement Unit was the guest speaker at this meeting. He discussed the drug trends and the function of the drug enforcement team. The time is now 6:09 here on 13 News this morning. We have much more to come, including meteorologist Brian Hughes, who is live in Morgantown this morning. He will be back with your Storm Tracker 13 forecast here on 13 News this morning. Welcome back to 13 News this morning. A daredevil got the thrill of winning on the Las Vegas Strip Wednesday night, but it was outside the casinos. In fact, it was 63 stories high between two casino towers on a slack line. Slack lining is like jumping on a trampoline, only it's on, oh, this is so scary to watch. It's on two pieces of webbing that are each just an inch wide. You obviously have to be very calm, centered, and you want to make sure you're physically and mentally stable and balanced to do this. And this might help you breathe a little easier. Slackliners do use a harness and leash in case they fall.
Now, Storm Tracker 13 with the area's most powerful HD live Doppler radar.
Good morning. Welcome to Morgantown, West Virginia, as we are having an absolute blast. We have got an action-packed show for you this hour. We've got the cheerleaders from West Virginia. We've got the mountaineer who's going to be here. And this is all sort of a, antagonized Brian Day, because I'm a former Texas Tech Red Raider. I don't think we're ever former. We bleed red and black. But also, I'm the former mascot at Texas Tech. So we'll see if we have a mascot challenge coming up here in a bit. I want to show you something. We've got a new coach at Texas Tech, and this is really funny. They're selling these T-shirts in Lubbock, and it has Kingsbury on the front. And Cliff, he's an awesome guy. I actually went to school with him and know him quite well. But this is what's hilarious. Look at this. Our coach is hotter than your coach. This is what they're selling for all the ladies to wear. Why I have one, I don't know. But anyways, that's some of the fun things that are happening at Texas Tech. Now he's even got a bobblehead. Brand new coach, they come in undefeated, but West Virginia really does have a legitimate chance for an upset going into Saturday's homecoming game. Their defense is performing fairly well. Let's talk about what's happening on Storm Tracker 13, HD dual live Doppler radar. We've got clear skies across the area, but we do have some fog that we're watching. Some of that fog is thick across parts of the coal fields, as well as when you look at what's happening across, sections of the tri-state. It is cool. 45 is the temperature in Jackson. We've got 42 in Athens, 51 Charleston, and we've also got 48 the temperature. Okay, here's our forecast for today. We'll be at 65, lots of sunshine, and it will be cool across the area. And we've got high pressure in control right now. That means a chilly. This is actually area of high pressure has come out of Canada, so we got a nice chill. There's a cold front to the east, cold front to the west that we're watching, and we've also got some very chilled temperatures all across the region. Here's a look at predictor. High pressure slides through. Cold front comes in Saturday. So if you're coming to the game, this is going to be a little bit of an issue. We've got a chance of a couple of showers happening, and then as we go into Sunday, we dry up. Monday, we actually warm up to 70. And then going into the middle to the end of next week, Courtney, this is where our forecast gets a little tricky. Long-range forecast models, middle to end of next week, especially like going into Friday, had the possibility of some very cold air moving in and maybe a snow shower or two in the higher elevations. So Snowshoe could actually see their first snow of the year. But that's in the long range. We get more into that as we head into the weekend and into next week. Coming up, we've got to talk about all the fun stuff happening here. That is a beautiful shot right there. This is Woodburn Hall, one of the iconic locations here at West Virginia University. And it's just absolutely beautiful. We went and looked at this yesterday to make sure we were ready to go for all of our live broadcasts this morning. And we just couldn't get away from this. It's absolutely gorgeous. Coming up here in just a bit, we'll also show you part of the USS West Virginia War Memorial. We're right here standing at that, and a pep rally with the cheerleaders of the Mountaineer coming up. Courtney?
All right, so much more from Brian coming up. You don't want to miss it. Back to the news now. This is a disturbing story out of New York this morning. This is Tiana Rodriguez, a Brooklyn teenager. Police say gave birth to a preterm baby boy, then carried the dead fetus in a bag around a Victoria's Secret store. Neighbors and friends say they had no idea she was even pregnant. The 17-year-old already has a 2-year-old son and was believed to be 5 to 6 months pregnant with her second child when she delivered the baby. One guard smelled a foul odor coming from one of their bags and opened it up to make that disturbing discovery. It's part pep rally and part political protest. Opponents of a plan to ship coal from Washington ports gathered outside the Greater Tacoma Convention Center. They came to the last of 5 public hearings on plans to bring coal trains from Montana and Utah through Washington to 2 ports. That's where the coal would be put on ships bound for buyers in China and other Asian countries. Opponents say the coal trains are dirty and they're too long and loud and will clog rail lines already used by shippers. The National Zoo won't reopen until later this morning, but the web cameras that show the baby pandas went back online yesterday. Lots of people happy about this. This is what the cub looked like just before the webcam went down. October 1st, it only weighed 3 pounds. Now it's up to 5 pounds. So cute, and it can even open its eyes. In Pittsburgh, their giant rubber duck is in the final days of being a riverside attraction. The duck came in with a bang during a huge bridge party September 27th. Look at that. However, there's a petition now to keep the duck in Pittsburgh, and many say they support this idea. The Cultural Trust has not made any plans yet for the future of this duck, but a news conference is planned for this morning to report on the number of visitors who have flocked there to see that gigantic rubber duck. Time is now 6:17 here on 13 News this morning. We have much more to come, including meteorologist Brian Hughes, who is celebrating WVU's homecoming live in Morgantown this morning. You're watching 13 News this morning. Good morning. It is 6:20 as we take a live look out over the Canal River, Haddad Riverfront Park there on your Friday. A little bit foggy out there. You're watching 13 News this morning. A movie about a free man forced into slavery is hitting the big screen this weekend. 12 Years a Slave is already getting some early Oscar buzz. CBS News correspondent Marley Hall reports.
Well, I don't want to survive. I want to live.
That sheer determination kept Solomon Northup alive during 12 long years of slavery.
Well, boy, how you feel now?
The movie 12 Years a Slave tells Northup's true story, a free black man from upstate New York who was kidnapped in Washington, D.C. and sold into slavery in 1841. The film is based on Northup's autobiography written 12 years after he was freed. Chiwetel Ejiofor says he was overwhelmed at first when approached to play the main character.
The dynamic changed and it became a great privilege for me to play Solomon Northup.
Ejiofor says director Steve McQueen encouraged and pushed the actors to their limits.
It creates a great environment to work with where everybody's pushing, where everybody's determined to leave everything that they can on the film.
I originate from Canada. I guess where that is.
The film also features Brad Pitt, Alfre Woodard, and Michael Fassbender, who said it was difficult to play the cruel slave owner who abused Northup.
Just really moved by the whole story, this incredible man. So I just wanted to be part of it.
Scholars who have examined Northup's story found it historically accurate. Marley Hall for CBS News.
And 12 Years a Slave opens in theaters nationwide today.
Now, Storm Tracker 13 with the area's most powerful HD live Doppler radar.
Good morning, I'm Brian Hughes, and we are live in Morgantown, West Virginia. We're having a great time here. All the cheerleaders are here. We're going to save them for you here at 6:30. We've got a big pep rally coming up. Here's the interesting part, and I was just telling them, and they're baffled by it. They're like, oh my gosh, I'm the former mascot for Texas Tech. I was Raider Red, the cartoon character. So this is where it gets pretty entertaining. They kind of looked at me a little odd because I've got my double T on here and everything else. But I've got my Texas Tech gear on. I'm the lone wolf on campus. We'll see how this goes today. I'll show you what's happening behind me here in just a moment. Take a look at the temperatures right now. It is chilly. I mean, we've got the vapor coming out of my mouth as I speak this morning. It is cold here. We've got 51 in Charleston, 48 Huntington, 45 when you get back up to Point Pleasant, as well as across portions of the area. In looking at temperatures in the mid-40s. Okay, lots of sunshine and cool today. 65 degrees. That's going to be our high temperature. Going to be a very nice Friday. Showers for game day. Just so you know, for coming up here to Morgantown, we've got some light showers going to be happening. This right here, this is a bell of the armored cruise of the USS West Virginia. Of course, on that fateful day, December 7th, It went down when the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor. But this is really neat. I mean, you can actually hear the bell ring as you get up here and tap it. Also right here, this is the mast that was on the battleship USS West Virginia. I mean, this is massive. I mean, when you look at the scale of this thing, it is absolutely amazing. But it's really neat to see. And this is the memorial that is right across the way from Woodburn Hall. Also, the Mountain Lair, that is the Student Union building. They have 31,000 people that walk through that a day, and it was just named the #2 student union building in the country. Awesome stuff there. Courtney, we've got a pep rally coming up at the bottom of the hour. That's in minutes.
All right, we will have much more from Brian coming up. Plus, we're going to take you to a big pumpkin drop in West Virginia, too, here on 13 News This Morning. Welcome back to 13 News This Morning. Pumpkins fall from the sky in Charleston. Bridgemont's 15th annual Capital City Pumpkin Drop was held Thursday at Appalachian Power Park. The friendly competition featured hundreds of students from 35 schools in 11 West Virginia counties. Students used creativity to figure out how to protect a pumpkin falling more than 60 feet. The overall winners were from Eastern Greenbrier Middle School, so congrats to them. Time is now 6:27. We have much more to come here on 13 News This Morning, including meteorologist Brian Hughes, who is live in Morgantown celebrating WVU's homecoming this morning, but he may be wearing the wrong colors. See more coming up.
Happening today, the woman at the center of a murder investigation will ask a judge for the chance to get out of jail. We'll explain in a live report.
Here we go. And we're live in Morgantown, West Virginia. It is a pep rally and a half this morning. Look at this. We've got the cheerleaders here. We've got the Mountaineer here. We are going to have a fun time as it's homecoming. 13 News This Morning starts right now.
Good morning. I'm Courtney Kadabi. Jack has the day off. We're going to have much more from Brian, too, coming up. But first, we're going to get to some news this morning. The woman at the center of a missing persons case in Kanawha County makes her first appearance in court this morning. 13 News reporter Lisa Robbins has been following this story. She joins us now with the very latest.
Courtney, good morning. Kelsey Legg is on the schedule for a bond reduction hearing today, a hearing in which she will have to appear in person. Legg is facing first-degree murder and kidnapping charges in the disappearance of Kareem Hunter. Hunter was last seen September 23rd. Police say Legg killed Hunter in her Marmet apartment late last month. It'll be interesting to see what her attorney argues today, because typically in a murder case, defendants are held in jail without bond pending the outcome of the case. This is video of Legg after she was arrested earlier this month. Just 1 week ago, Hunter's family hoped to get some answers from Legg during her preliminary hearing, but she waived it and did not have to appear in court. Hunter's family was devastated last week. They did not get the chance to face their loved one's accused killer. They will, however, get their chance to face her today. The hearing starts at 11:15, and we will bring you the latest developments as we get them. Reporting live in the studio, Lisa Robbins, 13 News, working for you.
And we're going to go live now to Morgantown, where meteorologist Brian Hughes is standing by, and he may be in some trouble.
Here we go.
Because he's wearing his Texas Tech colors, and he is surrounded by some very special...
Good morning. Welcome to West Virginia University. Look here. I'm in the middle of a mess here. I'm a Texas Tech grade Raider, but why not have a pep rally this morning? Look at all the fine folks here. All the cheerleaders are here. We are having a good time. Jonathan Kimball, good to have you here. And he's the mascot, clearly, West Virginia University. You're the Mountaineer. You're the man. Big man on campus.
Raiderettes coming into town. We'll have a little duel out this weekend.
Exactly. We'll get our guns out as well. I'm the former mascot at Texas Tech, so we'll probably have some sort of a duel coming up here in a bit. We'll figure something out. Ladies, gentlemen, welcome. It's going to be great. Homecoming is this weekend, and we're having a good time. The parade is at 6:30 this evening. So if you're making up here to the campus, going down High Street, that'll be a fun time. Also, there'll be a couple showers for the game. We'll talk about that coming up. Our high temperature today, 65 degrees with sunshine. Going to be a nice day. Good job, guys. We're having a great time. Stick around, Courtney. We'll have more from this pep rally and our mascot duel coming up here in a bit.
Oh, I just love that. Much more coming up from Brian Hughes. Meanwhile, we continue to follow the developing story in the 13 newsroom this morning. You're looking at video from Upper Arlington, Ohio. This is just north of Columbus, where we're learning an Upper Arlington police officer was the only one to survive when two cars crashed. WBNS 10 TV there says 6 people were killed, including 1 adult male and 5 women, including at least 1 2-year-old child. The officer was taken to the hospital with head injuries. Police say the victims in the other vehicle were not wearing seatbelts and no child seat was found in the car. You can stay with 13 News and WOWK-TV.com for the latest on this developing story. And we're following another developing story out of Ohio this morning. Social media has played a big part in many high-profile rape cases throughout the country. Now, viral photos taken near the Ohio University campus in Athens have sparked rape allegations after the woman in the photo came forward to claim she'd been sexually assaulted. The female victim filed a police report with the Athens Police Department Sunday night. A number of photos of the incident were first posted to Instagram. Students say they were surprised how quickly news spread.
We got to watch out nowadays. I mean, everyone has a cell phone, everyone has a camera, so people might need to be more cautious about, but I don't think everyone is as cautious as they should be.
Police say they are still investigating these allegations. The woman who made the report and the man seen in the postings are cooperating with police. Also in Athens County right now, a sheriff has some strong words for Ohio's Attorney General. Mike DeWine has been investigating Sheriff Pat Kelly for allegedly destroying county records and assaulting a man in September of 2012. Sheriff Kelly tells 13 News that he and his staff have been transparent with the media and the law, and they're ready for this to be over because they've done nothing wrong.
I would say to them, to the Attorney General, if you think you got something, you bring it on. If you don't, go home. Get out of here. If I had done something wrong, I'd be worried. But after they've hit the wall on everything that's come at me, so it's time to quit. And it's time to go after corporate crime. Go after something that's there, not something that's not there, and drop the political agenda.
An outside prosecutor has been appointed to represent Sheriff Kelly's office during the AG's investigation. Now to a 13 News exclusive. A former Massey CEO speaks out at a monthly meeting of coal professionals. Don Blankenship was leading the company in 2010 when an explosion killed 29 miners at the Upper Big Branch mine. Last night, Blankenship spoke to dozens of people at Logan Country Club in Chapmanville. He discussed everything from the debt ceiling to mainstream media to how to tackle the coal industry.
Basically, that the approach the industry has taken to dealing with the environmental movement and dealing with the political environment has not been correct, and that if we are to improve as an industry, we've got to deal with the people who are opposed to coal in a different way.
Blankenship now runs McCoy Coal Group. It's a business based in Belfry, Kentucky. He says the company buys, sells, and trades coal-related equipment. 13 News reporter Alana Otler spoke exclusively to Blankenship last night. She's working now on a more in-depth piece about what he's up to now, and you can see that report tonight exclusively on 13 News. Right now, the search is on for 2 women who made more than $11,000 in stolen credit card purchases. West Virginia State Police say the cards were stolen from employees at the Huntington Museum of Art last week. Troopers say the women walked into the art museum October 10th and went straight back to a room where employees keep their belongings. The stolen cards then were used in the Barbersville area. Troopers say the women were last seen in a black Chevy Cruze. If you have any information, you are asked to contact West Virginia State Police. A family continues now their week-long search for a Putnam County man. Family and friends have been searching for 23-year-old Chris Sexton for several days now. His mother said her son went missing after a party Monday night in Scott Depot. She tells us a fight broke out and he hasn't been heard from since. But family members say they know people who attended that party have to know useful information that could lead them to Sexton.
One of y'all knows something and you need to tell somebody, for real. I mean, put yourself in our situation. If we found him he was all right, I'd drop everything, you know. But if we find him and something's wrong with him, it ain't gonna be easy to just let go.
If you have any information on the whereabouts of Chris Sexton, you are asked to call 911 or the Putnam County Sheriff's Office. A Cabell County jury will begin deliberation this morning in a murder trial. Edward, he's known as Jesse Dreyfus, is accused of killing a handicapped man, Otis Clay, in April with a baseball bat. Dreyfus was originally charged with malicious wounding, but those charges were changed when Clay died from his injuries. The prosecution and defense both rested their cases Thursday. You can stay with 13 News for the very latest on this case. The time is now 6:38, almost 6:39 here on 13 News this morning. We have much more to come, including meteorologist Brian Hughes, who will be back live from Morgantown with the WVU cheerleaders and the Mountaineer. You don't want to miss it here on 13 News this morning. Welcome back to 13 News this morning. When you have to use the restroom at the John Michael Kohler Art Center in Wisconsin, you won't have to take a break from seeing some beautiful creations. And that's because even the restrooms are a work of art. In fact, they're one of 10 finalists for Cintas America's Best Restroom Contest. Look at that. So when you flush the toilet, you're flushing all hand-painted and designed works of art. The bathrooms are the center's only permanent installation, and they are an attraction on their own. People, we're told, come by just to see them.
Now, Storm Tracker 13 with the area's most powerful HD live Doppler radar.
And a good morning. We are in Morgantown having a great time. Look who I've got here. I've got some special guests. Tonight's ladies and gentlemen are here. We're having a pep rally this morning, getting ready for homecoming as West Virginia takes on the Texas Tech Red Raiders. Texas Tech's undefeated, and I'm a former Red Raider myself, a former mascot, Texas Tech. Jonathan Kimball, Mountaineer, is here. Jonathan, we have two shotguns. We're kind of soft, but we have two shotguns that we fire off. Yeah. And you got something that's a little louder than those two shotguns. You want to
Kentucky long rifle off our every time we score a touchdown, and it's ready to go right now.
Oh, it's ready to go right now? Here we go, folks. Now that is how you celebrate a touchdown.
Exactly.
Hey, we're going to have some fun. Coming up in just a bit, it's the mascot challenge, or at least the former mascot. I did this in the 90s, so we'll see how it goes. Thank you guys for coming out here this morning. Okay, now I've got to do the forecast. Let's show you what's happening right now in the temperatures. It is cool out there. We've got temperatures in the 40s and also in the 50s. So we're looking at a nice chill across the area. But we do have a warm-up in store, I promise you, in your 7-day forecast. Here's a look at what's happening across the area. High pressure is in control. That means good, dry weather for us for now. But there's a cold front off to the west, and it's going to continue to move in. And we've got some cool temperatures. Look at all those temperatures off to the northwest, how cool they are. High pressure slides through, cold front comes in, a couple of showers on Saturday, and then as we go into Sunday, we dry out. And we're looking at temperatures in the 60s for our 7-day forecast for the weekend, and then 70 on Monday. Cooler next week. If you're coming to the game, by the way, get ready. These folks are going to have to deal with a couple of showers. High temperature around 61 degrees for game time forecast. Okay, by the way, do you guys do the high kicks, toe touches? What do you do these days? They're uncomfortable. They're not stretched out this morning. It's cold. Or standing backs. Can anybody do a standing back right now?
I can.
You can do? Step back. Let's see it.
Yeah, Krista.
You sure you can do it right here?
Yeah.
What's your name?
Krista.
Krista, nice to meet you. Okay, standing back. Here we go. There we go. Look at that. We're having a great time up here in Morgantown. Homecoming parade is at 6:30 tonight. It's going to be a great time. And then not only that, we got the game tomorrow. It's at noon. That's kickoff. It's on Fox Sports 1, or you can hear it on the Mountaineers Sports Network. I'm Brian Hughes, having fun as a former Red Raider in the middle of this mess. 13 News working for you. Courtney, back to you.
I'm jealous. I want someone to come see me in the studio. Cheerleaders, baby. All right, we'll have much more from Brian coming up. Back to the news now. A bright blue billboard in Flint, Michigan has some wondering what and who is behind it. The sign reads, "I'm concerned about the blueberries," but no title or company is listed along with that statement. The owner of the billboard had no information available. One person says the word blueberries is likely a slang word for drugs or possibly a reference to children. The CBS station there reached out to about a half dozen blueberry farms across mid-Michigan who are all perplexed as to why someone would post concern about actual blueberries. Time is now 6:45, almost 6:46 here on 13 News this morning. Wildfires continue to rage in Australia. The latest from the raging inferno next. Welcome back to 13 News this morning. Hundreds of thousands of federal workers who were furloughed during the government shutdown have a big payday now coming. Employees who stayed home or worked without being paid will receive back pay in their next paychecks. For most, those checks will come October 29th. Of course, those workers haven't been paid since the government shutdown October 1st. Florida police are looking for two convicted murderers who were released from prison because of forged court documents. Joseph Jenkins and Charles Walker simply walked out of the Franklin County Prison 11 days apart. Each had obtained the false documents featuring official-looking signatures. Both men were sentenced to life for murder and remain on the loose right now. Authorities are now checking other records to see if any more prisoners escaped. President Obama has made his pick to be the next head of the Department of Homeland Security. The president will announce Jay Johnson's nomination at the White House today. Johnson was the Pentagon's top lawyer, where he oversaw the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. He was also an advocate for the expanded use of drone strikes in the war on terror. A Pennsylvania substitute teacher was found passed out in front of a high school classroom with 11 students watching. Christopher Chiappetta was subbing for a high school art class when he took a break close to noon Wednesday. Chiappetta initially denied being under the influence. Police say it wasn't until they found 4 baggies of heroin in his pocket and marijuana in his car that he confessed to using heroin. Around 6 o'clock that morning, Chiappetta faces several drug charges and endangering the welfare of children. Now, incredible new video from Australia this morning. Authorities in Australia say more than 100 wildfires are burning across New South Wales. More than 24 of them are out of control. Hundreds of square miles have been scorched, and it's unclear how many homes have been burned. At least one person has been killed. One of the rarest and most sought-after bourbons produced in Kentucky is missing. Franklin County Sheriff's deputies say someone swiped about 65 cases of 20-year-old Pappy Van Winkle bourbon in what appears to be an inside job from a secure area. Whoever stole the bourbon walked off with about $26,000 of the limited stock. The Lexington Herald Leader reports the bourbon retails for about $130 a bottle. Get this, it's worth $300 or $400 a bottle on the secondary market. Time is now 6:51 here on 13 News this morning. We have much more to come, including meteorologist Brian Hughes, who is celebrating WVU's homecoming live in Morgantown. He will have your forecast plus lots of special guests next here on 13 News this morning.
Now, Storm Tracker 13 with the area's most powerful HD live Doppler radar.
Good morning and welcome to West Virginia University. We're here having our morning pep rally. It's homecoming. My Texas Tech Red Raiders come to town as we head into tomorrow. They're undefeated, but West Virginia really does have a chance of upsetting them. And Cliff Kingsbury and company come to town. It's going to be fairly entertaining. By the way, Jonathan's here, the Mountaineer. Jonathan Jonathan, you actually were roommates with Raider Red at Big 12 Media Days?
Yeah, this past summer got to go down to Dallas, Texas. They paired me up with the Raider Red. So we spent 2 nights in the hotel room talking about different mascot stories and whatnot.
All kinds of fun stuff. And by the way, if you've ever wondered, this is actually a picture of me as Raider Red. This was at the basketball game. This is back in the late 90s. Yeah, 98, I think that's when that was.
I like the facial hair, though.
Yeah, it works.
Yeah.
It kind of matches what you have.
Red mustache, red beard.
We're kindred spirits here.
We'll see now.
Coming up here in a bit, we've got the mascot challenge that's going to happen. Let's see how that works out. By the way, our forecast today, 65. We've got some sunshine. Ladies, gentlemen, thank you for coming out and cheering on your Mountaineers. Stick around. We've got more coming up. Like I said, the mascot challenge. Now, here's Nora.
Ahead on CBS this morning, 2 convicted murderers use a judge's forged signature to break out of prison. FBI insider John Miller talked to that very judge and has some new information on the case. Plus, the NBA going global. Thousands of fans turned out in China just to see the pro players practice. Our Seth Doan is there, along with League Commissioner David Stern.
Actually, I'm surprised that Charlie Rose isn't here doing the morning news because he's a big jock.
Charlie would love to be here, I think.
Would indeed. The news is back in the morning, so we'll see you right at 7.
Welcome back to 13 News this morning. West Virginia's capital city will be filled with the sounds of drum lines this weekend. Second annual West Virginia Marching Band Invitational will feature 26 marching bands from across the state. Competition begins at 10 o'clock Saturday morning at the University of Charleston Stadium at Laley Field. Tickets are $7 for adults and $5 for the kids. Time is now 6:58, and we're going to head to meteorologist Brian Hughes now live in Morgantown with a little competition, I think, with the Mountaineer right now.
Hey, we are having fun here, Courtney. Yes, we've got the cheerleaders here. We've got a fun time. It's a pep rally for homecoming. And listen, Jonathan, you do push-ups when the Mountaineers score.
Yeah.
You ready to try this and see how we can do?
Yeah.
Let's go match up. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Ready? Yep. Go. Oh! You're kidding me? How do you do this?
Well, you know, Jimmy Smith came on us and put me in pretty good shape last year.
Oh, jeez. I give up. I did this in the 90s. I can't do this again. And he's still going. There's your Mountaineer. The Red Raiders are coming to town. They're undefeated, and he's going to have to do a lot of these if they're going to think about beating the Red Raiders, but it is possible. Look at that. He's still going. Homecoming parade is at 6:30 tonight. There will be showers across the area when you come to the game. High temperature of 61 degrees. I'm Brian Hughes in Morgantown. We're having fun. Courtney, back to you.
Brian, I think you won that push-up competition. Time is 6:59. We're going to have much more from Brian coming up in the cut-ins and today on 13 News at noon. You definitely don't want to miss that. CBS This Morning is coming up next. For the latest in breaking news, you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and WOWK-TV.com.